Welcome back to another edition of the Advantage Line, your one-stop shop for all things NRL and rugby league. Once again, I'm joined here in the studio by NZ Warrior fanatic Carl Tiley.
That might be the greatest intro you've ever given me.
A low bar then.
Doesn't take much to. Anytime you put my name with the Warriors in it, we're flying.
And, of course, coming in from somewhere else in New Zealand, up Bay of Plenty way, not far from Papamoa Beach, it's a good friend, Blake Ashford.
How are we, lads?
Good.
Yeah,
Very
just
good.
fizzing. We're less than a fortnight away from the start of the NRL season. Just can't wait for the first whistle to go and the first proper game of the season. And what a great matchup we've got. We'll talk about that next week in our preview of week one. But we're going to stick with our season preview, and we've got the teams that finished in the top four last season to cover. I'm just thinking if there was any news, and there is a wee bit of news that's just come hot off the press. The Warriors have picked up a player from next season for Dylan Walker, the Manly utility.
Yeah. I think this is a good signing. I'm not sure. He's an extremely good player if he can stay on the field. And I question where they will put him on the park. Blake, being a former centre/utility.
Did you ever face him?
Yeah. He got past me plenty of times. Yes. No, my phone's been going off the hook. The Savo. You guys met Ray. He came down for the Origin party. Massive Warriors fan as well. Carl, you get along well. He's already declared back-to-back championships after the signing of Walker for this year and next year. So I mean, yeah, the phone's been going off.
We need to get Ray on the show.
First of all, yeah, we do. We need to get Ray on the show, and then we also need to get an option sorted out by the bookies, Warriors to go back to back. I think you get some pretty juicy odds for that.
Tell you what, if it happens and one person takes it up, there'll be no TAB.
Oh wow! Well, let's hope that it's a good purchase for the Warriors.
Yeah,
they certainly. I guess I don't know if they're looking at. We're probably going to lose Reece Walsh next season, with him wanting to stay in Australia and more than likely signing up with Wayne. Now I'm just hypothesizing now, more than likely signing up with the Dolphins, and if they did sign him, it'd be a great pickup.
Yeah. I think the Warriors are looking sort of to the future, even though Walker is very old, as in footy terms. I think he's closer to 30, might be 30 or a bit older. Maybe I'm just reaching here, but I think he's in the higher end. But
27.
Oh wow! So he's been around for
a long time.
He probably started when he was around 17 or 18, something like that. And so it just seems like he's older than he is because he's been around for such a long time.
He's played 163.
Yep.
You right?
I think it's a good signing. As in, I'm like you. I don't know where he'll play, but I think that's the thing. The Warriors would have a plan for him, whether it be maybe these halves don't work out this year with Shawnee, and he comes in and he can play half because he's been playing half with Manly. We've seen a bit of that. Could be the Reece Walsh factor, or it could be we don't have the depth in the centres. Could be coming in there. So I think it's a good signing.
Big shout out to whoever updates his Wikipedia page. They've already got the Warriors listed as a team that he's played for.
Even though he hasn't played for them.
Well, they've got 2023 there, but it's already been updated. It's very efficient. So shout out to you.
Last week, we also saw the start of the NRLW season, and
how good it is. The women's rugby league.
There were some great hits, some great players. Well, I saw one of the St. George wingers get a double. I think her name was Berry. The two fullbacks in the Knights Parramatta Eels game, I thought showed a whole lot of pace and some good sort of ball skills. It was really good to watch. That's a great game.
Yeah, I think the more that it gets shown, the younger girls that keep coming up, they sort of develop now from a younger age and want to play, where it was never, it might have been a goal for some, but I don't think a lot of ladies gravitated to it. But now you can see it on TV. It's starting to grow. I think there was 6 teams now. So it's a good number. Maybe hopefully in the future they get more, but that'll just determine on the players. And as you've seen, the skill level, some of the passes that were thrown was amazing. I mean, I dare say some boys in the NRL might not be able to throw some of those long balls. We are talking about forwards and things, but no, some of the skill that was shown, some of the hits, it's good to see that the game is growing.
Yeah, I saw a little interview with the Parramatta Eels centre, Penny Tarney, who represented Australia at the Rugby Sevens, but said when she was growing up, there was no such thing as a rugby league sort of pathway for her. She did track and field at school and high school. So now, as you say, young girls coming up now have sort of teams or players to look up to, and I'm sure they can now see a pathway for them in a professional atmosphere. So the game can only get bigger from here on in. And we've had a Warriors team, and obviously they're not around because of COVID.
It'd be great to see them back.
But I tell you, I watched the Broncos game. They are a very, very good side.
Oh, mate, they are good. It was good to see a couple of ex-Warriors girls run around on the weekend. I see Madison Bartlett cross for a try for the Dragons out on one wing. It's good to see them. But what it will do as well, it'll grow the international game, because you'll see the Kiwi girls from here go over. And I'm pretty sure last year before COVID hit, there was a lot of the New Zealand Warriors girls that were with the Knights. And I'm not too sure. I haven't really seen the lineup to see if they're with them again this year. But, I think it's just going to grow that international game as well. So that's another positive.
Yeah.
Did you guys have anything to do with, or did you guys train with them at all when you were there?
No, we didn't. So when I was there, it was the first year. It was 2019 was one of the first years, I think, and they trained at different times. Obviously weren't as professional back then, and obviously not paid enough to not train during the day. So we never got a chance to train with them. And then obviously 2020 COVID hit. So, yep. But no, haven't had a chance at all. No.
And I see the coach, like Dean Wooders is coaching the Parramatta team. Jamie Soward is coaching the Dragons team. So, they've got some good sort of, I guess, knowledge and background in the NRL game to sort of feed off. And I just see it getting better and better and better. And then the teams increasing, the league getting bigger. I just can't wait. I can't wait for State of Origin. Crikey, there will be some huge hits in State of Origin. So
I was watching the Dragons Titans game with my daughters. I was trying to watch this, girls. You want to watch this? But at the end of that game, I think the Dragons were up
by 2 points,
14-12 with 30 seconds to go, and they got the ball back. And the commentators are saying all they need to do is just chill out. Jamie Soward will be saying just run down the clock, and then they're throwing these balls out the back. They're running cutters, busting through the middle, and then
they did score under the post.
The number 14, scored under the post to blow it out. But man,
it was a great game because there was only 2 points in that game right till the end.
Yeah. And I don't know her name, but the Titans forward who copped one on her face, and her cheekbones
she had like
exploded.
a rock melon on the side of her face. That really blew up. Yeah. But the other game, the Eels Knights game, decided by a last second field goal.
Yeah.
So but the Broncos, boy, they look really, really good. That Tamika Upton and that at fullback, that Brigham Shaw.
they've sort of had that team for the last couple of years, haven't they? So and they were good then. Have they lost? Don't quote me, but I don't think they've lost yet in the NRLW. It might be something we can. I don't think they have.
We'll have a look at that.
Yeah, but be looking at a price. I don't know what the prices are, or if they're up at the moment. They'd be very hard to beat.
I know as we've been previewing the NRL, we've said every team basically has a big, huge pack. Well, the Broncos women's team has a huge pack, and they sort of out-monster a lot of the other packs in that comp there. Yep. And then when you've got the likes of Upton at the weaving her magic, it's just it's a very good recipe for success.
Broncos 12.5 favourites, 12.5 point favourites against the Knights this weekend. The woman.
Yep.
$1.16 head to head.
I'm tempted.
$1.83 plus.
I'm very tempted to take the minus 12.5.
Ooh,
very tempted. Anyway, we're back to the NRL. We'll get back to our season preview. The top 4 teams from last season. Where do we start? Was it the
Manly Sea Eagles?
I'll just get the paper there. The Manly Sea Eagles. You want to give us some stats for the Sea Eagles last season?
744 points scored, 492 against. They averaged 31 a game, and they conceded 20.5 per game. So there is a massive jump that we saw from
like almost break even,
7 and 8, which were break even, to 6 in the 5 and 6, the Eels and the
Roosters
last week. So now we're really top echelon. So, and they also had Ruben Garrick, who was top point scorer, 334, and he had the most goals too, 121 points, 121 goals.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to see what they're made of straight away, because straight off the bat they got Penrith and then the Roosters. So,
yeah.
We will see what sort of. But in saying that, I looked at the rest of their draw, and it's pretty favourable. A lot of their tough games they play back to back. Well, they might play a Para and a Storm, or like we said, the Panthers and the Roosters. But then they go on 3 or 4 game stretches where sort of teams that outside, who I think will be in the 4, teams that are beatable if you're Manly. So I think they've sort of got a favourable draw to finish high up the ladder.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll have a look at last season. I think Tommy Turbo, he didn't play in their first 5 games. They only won one of those games, and that was a 1-point victory over the Warriors. The next 5 games, they won 4 when he was back.
Yeah.
And they put some points on as well. So they not only struggle without him, they struggle to score points without him. He is a huge part of that offense, and I guess he puts opposition defenses in 2 minds. It's, do we double up and try and cover him and then leave gaps elsewhere for other players to exploit, like Jason Saab, like Ruben Garrick, who scored a lot of tries when Turbo was on the field.
Yep. Yeah.
So if he stays fit, I do like their chances. I don't think they've got as much depth as a number of other teams in certain places. I think the second row, they didn't have a lot of depth before Josh Schuster got injured. Now they're sort of a wee bit more exposed here. I mean, they've got the other Trebojevic brother. Also,
Ben.
Yeah, I'm. Yeah, I'm sort of on the other side. I think for me personally, I'm just looking at players who can fill in the backs, and we've seen that young kid Cooler who got that runaway in the trial, and apparently
he's got some wheels as well.
Yeah, and he's been knocking. So I mean, you've got Parker there, who's a great defender, but attack-wise, I'd probably lean towards Cooler. But then you've got Morgan Harper, but then we're forgetting George Tafua, Jorge. He hasn't played in.
Did he actually play last?
He didn't. He didn't. And that's what I'm saying. Like, he's back and he's looking awesome. And then you go to the back row, Schuster and that go down. You've got Bullimore, who I think is a good signing. And then you've also got Walker, who could probably play in the forward somewhere as well. Carl Lawton as a backup hooker. I'm excited because I think a lot of it last year was all around Turbo, and rightfully so. He was the heartbeat last year, but I think the way towards the end of the year that Olakuatu, Schuster, even Saab and those younger players, Morgan Harper, started playing, I think they sort of went not underappreciated, but sort of didn't get as much shine, obviously, because of Turbo. And I'll be very excited to see how they're going to go this second year. That's why I think they can take another leap. The only depth question I would have would be in the halves.
I was just going to say that.
And that's the only one for me. If Foreign or DCE go down, yeah, I mean, you could chuck Walker or Schuster in, but that's a big drop off for me.
The Foreign, I guess, probably had his best season that he's had in a long time last year in terms of playing and just staying fit. And probably because he wasn't relied on so heavily to do the work, he could just sort of turn up and do what he does best. And that's probably why he's such a good fit with this Manly Sea Eagles team. But you're right, if either of those two, Cherry Evans or Foreign, go down, they haven't really got anyone to come in that's can keep that sort of international standard of football going.
I think definitely DCE, because he's sort of their creator.
Yeah.
Foreign's now more sort of a run-off type player. Defensively, he's almost like another loose forward. He ties up a lot in that sort of just on the fringes of the ruck for them defensively. But I think if DCE goes down, they haven't seen Schuster in the halves for a while, but DCE does tend to create a hell of a lot of their offense. So if he goes down, that is a huge, huge loss. But then again, you could say that for most teams, number 7.
Yeah.
If they go down injured, they lose a hell of a lot.
And like you said, even without injury, you've got Origin time. So, the two Trebojevic boys will most probably be there. DCE most probably be there as well. So there's 3 who are just automatically almost your spine, or the players who touch the ball the most in your team.
Yeah, I think they play the Warriors around Origin time. Maybe they won't finish 13th. Maybe 12th. I'll have to think about that.
But the Seagulls are $1.90 for top 4. If anyone's looking to get on,
some of that. Give me some of that.
Very juicy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, where have we got the Sea Eagles finishing this season?
Well, before we do this, we're gonna do our ladder at the end of.
Yeah. Once we've done all 4 teams.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I've got them
in your bracket
1 to 4.
I've got them 3rd. I've got them finishing 3rd. I think.
Yeah.
I think they'll continue on from where they left off last season.
Yep.
And I think a couple of other teams are sort of will regress this season. So I think they slot in very nicely the 3rd.
Yeah, they're in my top 8. Oh, I'll get to that later.
He's going
I think your top 8 full.
Big surprise. Wait for the end. Right. The team that finished 3rd last season, the South Sydney Rabbitohs.
They scored 775 points last year. They conceded a 453. So on averages, they're scoring 32.3 points per game and conceding only 18.87. Not bad.
They've
big outs.
Well, there's one huge out for mine.
Jaden Sewer.
Wayne Bennett. And although I just can't wait for the Dolphins to get on the field because I'd just love to see what he does first season up sort of thing with the Dolphins. Anyway, he's gone. Who else? Adam Reynolds is gone, of course, up to Brisbane. Jaden Seward to the Dragons. Dane Gargai to the Knights. Braden Burns to the Bulldogs.
Your boy Benji retired.
Benji.
That's probably a pretty big out, considering the amount of experience he's got and what he did last year. And it hasn't really been talked about, I don't think.
Yeah, I agree. And I've got it written down as well. For me, last year, that was one thing they weren't struggling with, depth. They had players go in and out, sit out games, and you'd have Benji come in and play half against the Titans, and everyone was talking about, this guy can still play for another year. So like this year for me, the depth is just unknown. And I know they've got a good junior system and a lot of kids coming up, and Ilias and Taff and players like this, but we haven't really seen them handle first grade. So until I think we see it, I think it's a bit unproven. And for me, like Manly, what a way to open the season. You've got the first 4 rounds, 3 away games, and they are against the Storm, the Panthers, and the Broncos, all away, and you play a grudge match against the Roosters. I mean, that's probably the toughest draw, I think, in the NRL, first 4 rounds. So with no Latrell opening round, maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah, has that been reduced?
I think he's out for the first round only.
And it's the same with Brandon Smith and Reece Walsh now.
Smith can play. Walsh is round 1.
We're round 1 out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, the obvious thing is if they're going to do anything this year, it's got to come from Latrell, Cody Walker, and Damien Cook. But I'd be interested to hear how you fellas think it's going to line up the team, because would you play Latrell Mitchell at half if things weren't going too good, and put Blake Taff, who played pretty good in the grand final, at fullback? Or they're talking about Blake Taff at half or Ilias at half?
I think you've probably got to have Taff in there somewhere.
Yep.
I don't know if Latrell would be the right fit for the halves in this team, given how Cody Walker plays.
Yep.
They lose a lot with Adam Reynolds moving on. I think there's, like I've said it before, I think that's the best buy of the year for the Broncos. He's such a good player. They're going to lose a lot of direction without him, and they need someone. I don't know. I haven't seen much of this Elias kid, but they need someone who can direct them around the park. Just Reynolds' kicking game was so good. Cody Walker's obviously the runner. So to answer your question, I don't know. Well,
I don't think you can put Mitchell in the halves. I think you have to leave him at fullback and then fit the other players in wherever you can. Obviously, Cody will have the number 6 on his back, and it's just a matter of who has this partners him in the halves. And I think the first cab off the rank is that Ilias kid, and which means that Taff probably becomes somewhat of a utility type. But I don't know how you can actually do that with it. I think they lose too much by having that. You either have him in the starting 13 or you don't have him in the 17.
Well, here's another one for you. You have Taff at fullback. Now, this is stretch, but I mean, there's no real. I see they've named Jackson Paulo as a centre. He could possibly starting in the centres round 1. Would you put Latrell back to the centres and have him outside Cody Walker? Is that would that be, for me?
That's a better fit.
I'm trying to figure out how you put Latrell and Taff in there, because Taff as a half, I think him and Cody are too similar, both runners. I don't think either. I mean, Cody, I've seen him doing some directing around the other day, but I mean, I would prefer Ilias there, and then you'd have. Do you put Latrell in the centres outside Cody? So a little combination there. I mean, this is all going to be up round 1, because obviously Taff will start fullback. If he has a blinder, I mean, it's not like Latrell's not making the team, but it's just where do you put him?
And I think a lot of that has to do with Latrell. But where does he want to play? Because if he says, no, I don't want to play in the centres, I want to play a fullback, well, then you're going to put him at fullback. So, but you're right. If Taft has an absolute blinder in round one, it's very, very hard to then well, it's not hard because you've got Latrell coming back, but the better fit would be for Latrell to go into the centres and keep Taft at the back.
Yep.
It's very hard. It's going to be a hard decision for the selectors, the coaching team to make after round one.
I tell you one thing that wasn't hard though, Paul, the forward pack, because once again we've got a very good forward pack in this NRL side. That was the only I tried to write down the lineup, and I've got 6 people in each sort of thing in the backs, and then the forward pack just picks itself. Burgess, Cook, Totola, Arrow, Colin Matangi, Murray, Nichols, Knight, Host. I mean, yeah, they lost, a couple of forwards, but that pack still can win you some games.
Yes, yep. It does look like another strong pack.
Still going to be going forward.
Yep, and skeptical. I hear a bit of, we're a bit skeptical on how they're going to finish this year. $3.80 to miss the 8. The Rabbits.
Oh, is that an indication of where they sit on Blake Ashford's predicted ladder?
I said I can hear it in your voices. I can hear in your guys' voices.
Right.
No hints.
Your bracket?
5 to 8.
I've got them finishing 6th.
They're in my 16.
Normally so committal. We've had every team up to now. This is where they are in Blake Ashford's predicted ladder, and now he's running scared, folks.
I am. I've really put the handbrake on. Try to reverse out of that.
He told us a lot there. Anyway, we move on to the team that finished second.
Second on the ladder, won the comp. The Panthers. 676 points for, 286 against, the best defensive record in the competition. They scored 28 points per game, and they conceded less than 12, less than 2 tries. That is unheard of.
They could shut down teams at will. Having a look at the losses, obviously Matt Burton is a huge loss for them. He not only was Mr. Fix-It for them and filled in a number of positions, he is an out-and-out classy player. He's got skills. Whether he'll be able to express them at Belmore, well, they don't play at Belmore anymore, but
he did score a try the other night.
He did. Trial. Naden has followed him to the Bulldogs as well. Kurt Capewell's gone up north to the Broncos. Momorovsky, who played really, really well in the centres for them when needed, gone to the Roosters.
Don't forget Tavita Pungai.
Has gone to the Dogs as well.
What a loose cannon. What a grub.
Hey, nothing happened. He got off, so.
Yeah, just a bit of jersey pulling.
I'm all for that, but what an idiot.
Okay, so here we go. Carl Tiley, not a fan of TPJ.
Not in a trial match like that. But anyway, we're talking about the Panthers.
Yeah. So where do we go? Well, what are you looking for here?
Well, I think probably largely unchanged, really. They are, as you say, Burton and Capewell probably the 2 biggest losses there. But I think they've got the troops to cover them pretty easily. They're largely unchanged. I think the Panthers are in for another very good year. They do have, as I'm sure Blake will touch on, a pretty tough start through the first 11 rounds. They've got Manly, Bunnies, Storm, Roosters. So the top 4 from last year. Or top 4 of the last 5. But I can see them being sort of 9-2 through the first 11. I don't think they'll win all of those games with those teams, but if they get half of them, the rest of their start to the year is pretty easy, I think. So yeah, I think we'll be seeing the Panthers come September again for sure.
Yeah, Origin period is going to. I mean, if we think back to the last couple of years, the Roosters were the first team in about what 18 years
to go back to back.
Back to back.
Yeah,
it's hard, man. It's hard just to get there, and then it's hard. I think we were laughing last year how there was that top 4, and then there was everyone else.
Yeah,
I think the league this year will be a lot better. I think we've seen these bottom teams recruit well, as in the Bulldogs. I think the Cowboys have some good recruits. I think the Dragons got good recruits. I think we'll see a lot of tougher games than what we had last year. These blokes have played maybe 28, 30 games plus Origin 2 years in a row. And as you've seen the last 2 years with the Roosters, slowly starting to take its toll. I think Origin will take a toll on them again. I think like they did this year, they had Burton and they had those players and they still lost those games. I think they're going to lose a lot during there. I still think they'll be there come September. But the question marks for me are probably around how healthy is Cleary. When does he come back? Because if he's there, if he's not there, I think they could possibly drop maybe to the lower part of the 8 or out of the 8 if Nathan Cleary is not playing, if he gets injured again. Now, you've got Sean O'Sullivan, who's been quite capable with the Warriors, and he's been good in the trials. But I think Nathan Cleary's gone, I think he's the best player in the world. I think if he's out or gets injured again during this time, I can see them sliding downhill real fast. And you got to remember, a lot of these players, it is their last hurrah with the club, so I think they will be wanting to end on the high. But mentally, maybe, yep, but their body, is it going to cope with another 30 games plus Origin? That's the question marks for me around that team.
One man who doesn't think he's the best player in the world is Mel Meninga.
Yeah.
Who said that
Daly Cherry Evans
DCE will start
Oh, wow.
in the green jersey, and it's his to lose.
Oh, really? It's hard for me because I love Big Mel, but I think it's quite clear. I mean, I
agree with you. I think Cleary is out and out. The best player going around. He does. He makes a huge difference to that Panthers team. And if he's gone, then they will lose a lot of those games where you would have thought they're a shoo-in here. So
we saw it. Was it last year or the year before when he was out for a few games and they lost? And they lost, and then he came back and they
lost this year. It could have been last year when they went on and won it. I think he was out with his shoulder, came back, and they went. Everyone was like, "Oh, it's done." Came back, and but the question marks also for me is I think that Burton, Momorowski, and Naden, those three, I think they're huge because if you have one of them, now I haven't seen enough of Isaac Targo or Taylor May in the centres, to who I think they're going to fill in, because I don't know who else will play in that other centre role, partnering Crichton. So I think one of those three would have been handy. Obviously, Burton gone for a lot, but if you could have kept Naden or a Momorowski, I think, they're going back to back. But, I mean, it's a tough ask. So, I don't think they will do as well as last year, but I can see them playing semi-final footy.
Yep, I can agree with that. I don't think they'll go back to back.
But you've got them there somewhere.
1 to 4.
1 to 4. I've got them finishing second.
$1.62. Top 4.
Yeah, that's boring.
Oh.
Yeah. Winning money's boring, you're right. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to put, it's like we'll chuck that in a multi, but I'm not waiting 8 months, 9 months for a multi to come in.
Yeah.
Right. And you've got them in the top 16, Blake?
No, they're in my top 8.
Nice.
Top 8, Paul. Yep.
Nice. Okay. Here we go. The team that finished the top of the table last season didn't make the grand final, though.
No.
The Melbourne Storm, who I don't remember the last time they weren't around the business end of the season. They just seem to be a permanent fixture there.
I do. 2010 when they couldn't physically get points. And they still would have finished in the top 4 that year. No, top 6, I think. Melbourne Storm. They scored the most points in the competition, 815. For just a tick under 34 points a game. That is unreal. And they only conceded 13 points per game, 316 points total. Very strong outfit. Yeah.
Where are we? What have we got here? A few losses. Josh Adokar, another one off to the Bulldogs. Nico Hines to the Sharks. He takes his friend Dale Finucane. Those are the main.
Aaron Penne to the Warriors.
As I said, those are the main losses for the Storm. They've picked up a bit. I think Xavier Coates is he's a good pickup for them. Nick Meaney, I guess he'll help out when I think during Origin time or if they suffer a few injuries. But
Xavier Coates straight swap for Adokar. Hang on, let me prefix this with in this Storm team, not Adokar. Definitely, I think a better player, faster player, and all of that. But
he,
in this Storm
he basically
unit,
just jumps into his jersey.
He will score as many points and feature in as many tries as Josh Adokar did. Nick Meaney will take Nico Hines' role. I reckon they've been playing that. You've seen the last few years the progression of Pappenhausen. He started on the bench. When that 14 role came in to take the fullback spot, Nico Hines started there in the bench, and that 14 spot came in, did a job. I think Nick Meaney will do the same there.
I don't know if I'm thinking they're just going to have 4 big boppers on the bench and just smoke some teams.
They might, but very like for like. They've also got Willie Warbrick, who didn't mention, the 7 superstar, Kiwi 7 superstar.
Yeah, I'll be keen to see how he goes. I would have chucked him on the other wing with Coates on one wing, Willie Warbrick on the other, because he's quite a big body. You've seen him in that Warriors trial. Had him in the centres. He's a big boy. And he's fit. He's played in the 7s. He can run. I would have put him on the other wing opposite Coates. But for me, looking at the draw, I was trying to find a tough sort of scenario for the Storm. And the Storm don't have tough games. They are the tough game.
This is one of the easiest starts to the season in every team.
Yeah, but even the tough games that are supposed to be tough, I think the Storm just handle them. I mean, they just like a Penrith. They might win 14-12, but they just win. Like I look at their team and I don't see many flaws, to be honest. I look at heaps of teams. I could probably pick 1 or 2 positions where I think, that's a bit vulnerable there. I can't really see a flaw with the Storm, and it's probably the system, the way it's built up. Maybe because I've seen this team for the last 10 years or 5 to 10 years with Smith, Bromwich, Welch, Kafusi. You got Munster. Hughes is getting better every single year. He could be up there chasing like Cleary and that soon. Like he is that good, I believe. Jerome Hughes, and they all words. Munster's come back fitter than ever. It's a scary thought. I mean, they'll drop games during Origin, I think, possibly, but then again, they might not. And because also this is the last year, I think for the captain Jesse Bromwich, Kafusi, and they've called this home for 5, 10, 15 years maybe for Jesse Bromwich. So this will be a big year. So I mean, I was very high on the Roosters last week, and I maybe jumped the gun a bit. I'm putting the Roosters and the Storm equal. There we go.
He told everyone to jump on last week, and I said, "Hold on."
I was having a look at
stop the bus.
The Roosters outrights, and they've come in a lot. So there must have been a lot of people listening to this.
Oh, what have you done?
Listen, I still think the Roosters will get it done. Come on, guys.
What about the Eels, though? You're pretty high on them too.
I had them to reach the GF, reach.
Well, 3 don't go into 2, mate.
Yeah. Well, hey, someone's got to miss out. But 2 winning bets are better than none. So.
So we're just going to bet on everyone to make the grand final. Is that how it works?
One of us will win.
Interested to get your thoughts on, I don't know if he was in the team last year, must have been, but Tipai Moroa, who, when he started with the Eels, he was awesome. Unbelievable. Then went back to rugby union for a little bit. And now he's come back and good chance of slotting into that 13 role that Finucane had.
Yeah, I'd like to see Brandon Smith start at 13 and have the punch of Smith and Grant. If Grant can play the 80 minutes, I think those two, that'd be quite a force. But you're right. He went to rugby union, played with the Waratahs, my Waratahs.
Tough scenes.
Tough scenes. Going from Parramatta back then to the Waratahs. Not the happiest of times in the career, but he's back and he's gone to the Storm, and I think it took him, when he came back, he was just a step behind. But I suppose, as we spoke about, the Waratahs and rugby union might do that to you. He's a step behind, and now he's had a preseason with the Storm, and I think you're right. He could. Personally, I'd like to see him sneak on the bench, but I don't see why he couldn't start 13 if they wanted to go with Smith and Grant, Hooker, and on the bench again. Yeah,
good chance in round 1 anyway, because Grant's suspended.
Yeah, well, there you go. So I agree with you, Carl. I think you'll be there.
Nice. They play the Tigers in round 1, Paul. How do you think? What do you think the line will be for that game?
When was the last time they lost in the first round of the season?
I think you find never.
Yeah, but I think you find that the Tigers have tripped them up in a number of milestone games. Not saying it's going to happen week 1 this season, but just say that it's happened before.
I've got my notes here.
Yep.
They might win round 1 by 70.
Woo-hoo.
70.
Wow, get on the minus. Get on the minus.
Obviously an exaggeration, but they could absolutely destroy the Tigers' hopes and dreams in round 1.
Oh,
I think it could be the biggest margin we've ever, the biggest line we've ever seen. It could be. I agree with that.
Yeah.
What is the biggest line we've ever seen in NRL?
Okay, come on.
What? Sorry.
What is the biggest line? It would have been last year, quite possibly.
I know there was a couple of Manly Dogs games last year that was sort of got out to 30 or 36 from memory. And there was one of those games, if you got on the alternate lines, you could get at about 60, and I think one of them collected.
Wow.
I'll tell you, I'll give you the tip right now.
Oh, we've got the lines up.
Yeah.
Oh, for round 1?
Yep,
Yeah.
I'll give you the tip right now, and they are nowhere near that. They are 10.5-point favourites. There you go.
Give me the minus.
Oh,
wow. That's it.
Wow.
That's, yeah.
From the former Tiger himself, he just said,
they are not.
with his eyes, get on the minus.
Oh.
And I can tell you, they are not the shortest price favourite for round 1 either, the Storm.
What?
There you go.
Can you get? Sorry, I'm curious now. Can you let me know who is the shortest price?
Well, the Storm are $1.29 against the Tigers, $3.50. The Roosters are $1.27 against the Knights at $3.65.
Makes sense. Roosters, yeah. Roosters Storm. We're onto something there. We're onto something, guys.
Oh.
If you get on now, let's have a little multi. Oh, we don't want golf in there. It's a multi from earlier. No, we need some more value. 2 legs, only $1.63.
Oh, gee, it tastes very sweet though, doesn't it? Hey? Just sit back and enjoy the game, and there you go. Run to the window, collect your money. Well,
I'll chuck the Warriors in there as well. We're
pick up some KFC on the way home. Oh, everyone's happy.
Up to 275. We put the Warriors in there too.
Okay. Calm down.
There goes KFC.
Yeah. Right, 2-minute noodles tonight, kids.
Oh, yeah.
I'm guessing you've got them in the 1 to 4 bracket.
Sure. Let me just double check. Yep.
I've got them 4th. I've got them finishing 4th.
Yeah, they're in my top 3.
Right. Beautiful. Now, do we go over our ladder now?
Yes.
Do you want to do it?
Yep.
I've got my ladder here.
We've been hyping it up for 4 weeks.
You want to go? We go 16 to 1.
16 to 1. Okay. How did you guys do your ladders? Just out of curiosity. I did the Nrlw.com ladder predictor. I went through, picked every single game, chucked in a few upsets here and there. And if I'm thinking about it now, didn't really take Origin into consideration.
Mm.
So that may be an issue, but I think it's all kind of worked out anyway.
Yeah, I did the same, the NRL predictor, and then I got the 8, and I was like, that's not happening. So I made 1 or 2 changes.
How did you do it, Paul?
I went with feel.
Feel.
Yeah, did it by feel.
Oh, old school.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want me to lead off?
Yeah, go on.
Number 16. Sorry, Blake. West Tigers.
Yep, I've gone the Tigers too, mate.
I've gone Cowboys.
Oh,
I've only got the Tigers winning 2 games.
Oh, and by the way, I'll give you the tip. The best back team in the wooden spoon market, the Newcastle Knights, both here and across the other side of the Tasman. Best back team, the Newcastle Knights, to win the wooden spoon at $11.
we were on it. We were on it, weren't we?
Before I did this, when I was doing my brackets, they were going to be my 16th team. But that's not how it fell. But I will be having a crack at the Knights wooden spoon for sure.
Okay.
Who have you got 16, sorry?
Cowboys.
15, I have the Cowboys.
I got the Knights.
I got the Tigers.
Okay. 14, I've got the Dogs.
I got the Raiders.
Oh, I've got the Dogs.
13, I've got the Knights.
I got the Warriors.
Oh,
jeez. I got the Titans.
12th, I have the Titans.
I've got the Knights.
I got the Cowboys.
So we're all fairly aligned so far, except for Paul's Warriors.
It's my feel. It's all about my feel.
11, I've got the Sharkies.
I got the Titans.
I got the Broncos.
No, I thought you said the Broncos were going to make the 8.
Yeah, I was, and then I've seen a couple of things, and we did speak about the Sharks and the Raiders the other week, and you sort of spoke me into a couple of things. So Broncos at 11.
10th, I've got Dragons.
Broncos.
Raiders.
Ooh. 9th, 4 points out of the 8. I think my ladder suggests there'd be a big gap. 9th, I have the Broncos.
Dragons.
I got the Rabbits.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I've got Rabbits in 8th.
I got Dogs.
Oh, I got the Dragons. The Dogs.
The Dogs. Ooh, what are you feeling?
You and Gus, eh?
Yeah, that's okay. We'll see when the chips fall. After...
Let's trot.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that.
Trot. 7th, the Warriors.
Eels.
I got the Sharks in 7th.
Ooh. We're getting pretty high, and Blake hasn't said the Warriors yet. I'm getting excited. 6th, I've got the Raiders.
Not the Rabbitohs.
I got the Warriors.
Yes. 5th, I have the Eels.
Sharks.
I got the Panthers.
Ooh. 4th, I've got Manly.
Yeah, I'm Manly too. I got Manly 4th.
Storm.
I got Storm 3rd.
Yep, Storm.
Manly.
Storm 3rd.
I've got Roosters 2nd.
Panthers.
Roosters. No, Parramatta. Sorry, Parramatta.
Parramatta Seals. And I've got Panthers topping, getting the minor premiership.
I got Roosters.
I got Roosters.
Right.
I've actually got Roosters. I'm just looking at the Roosters and Penrith on the same points.
Shall we put our 5 best futures / season bets up, and I'll put them in a spreadsheet. We'll keep an eye on them throughout the season.
Yep.
And we'd let's just say that we would put a
20.
50.
Whew.
We'd put a 50 on each of them.
Can I just as we're talking hypothetical here?
Yeah.
Can I just split one of my 50s? Just have a
you want
25,
6 bets?
25? Yeah. Oh, it's same sort of thing. Just one certainty, one roughy.
Yeah, I'd like to do the same actually.
Oh, wow.
It's one bet, but it's 2 bets within one, right?
Oh, gee.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
I'm with you, man.
What do you got?
My best
Yeah. Oh,
or the double.
just throw them all out.
Okay, I will start with the Warriors to make the 8 at $3.60.
Look,
You're right.
I'd love for that to happen.
I don't think you would.
I would love for that to happen because I know as soon as they're out for the season, your interest in this podcast just drops significantly.
Please.
Yeah, there's
I'm a
no energy.
professional.
There's no
I'm a
energy there whatsoever.
professional.
Let's look back at last season. Fair dinkum. You could see it. There was a downward spiral as soon as they were out.
Yeah. The anger started. I
Yeah, exactly.
You're not wrong.
Short fuse.
It does make or break the weekend or the week.
So Warriors for the 8.
360. That has come in a lot since in the last month.
That's the biggest mover in that market.
Yep. Next one, Manly top 4 at $1.90. Really like that. Next one, Roosters to make the grand final, $3.26. Seems like an odd number.
Interesting price, yeah.
Yeah. $3.26 to make the grand final. That was about $5 or $6 a couple of weeks ago. So I feel like Blake's put a lot on that and chipped the market himself.
Whoosh.
Next one, Wooden Spoon, the Knights.
At $11.
$11. And then my little
Split
double.
Wow.
Top try scorer.
Mhm.
Alex Johnston, just because that man scores lots of tries, $11. And my roughie, Daniel Tupou, 26s for the Roosters.
Mm-hmm.
That's me.
That is the exact same way I was betting with that 25-25. Thank you.
Oh, there we go.
I had,
Right.
jump on.
Yours. Yeah, yours.
Mine. Well, simple. We'll go right to the top straight away. The mighty Sydney Roosters to win the comp at $6. I mean, sort of giving away money there, $6, but go on the Roosters. Team I've been high on, Parramatta, top 4, $3.80. I've got them second. I don't know if you've had them in the top 4 as well, but $3.80 I think is great price. Top point scorer for the season, I think Zach Lomax will be top point scorer, $41.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, he's the goal kicker. He does set a lot of try assists, but I think he'll cross for a bit.
He'll
How
play
good-
every game probably.
How good
Yep.
was that flick pass?
Oh,
Wow.
good.
Beautiful.
The dummy and then the flick. Wow.
Was that to Ravalava? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mr. Ravalava.
My 2 try scorers. We just spoke about Xavier Coates before. I think his game will go to another level outside them. So $10. I mean, yep, speaks for itself. And my roughie, I've been talked into the Sharks the last couple of weeks. Then Ronaldo Mulatalo at $41, top try scorer. Does usually score 1 a game, so hopefully he gets a couple of doubles during the season. And if all those fail, I've got a bet that most probably should win at $1.33. It's the winning region, New South Wales. So, I mean, you've got the Roosters, the Para, Manly, Panthers.
So you're betting against the Queensland teams,
And
the Storm,
And
and
the Storm
the
against-
Raiders.
yeah.
Against
Yeah.
the Storm.
Yeah, so if
And the
all
Warriors.
those fails,
Well, what about the Warriors? They're based in, where are they based?
Queensland, they're not winning.
Okay.
But yeah,
All right. Okay.
if it all fails, we've got that $1.33 sitting there nice, just a little bit back in the bank.
chicken. You
Just
chicken.
to keep us alive.
Expected more.
Right. I'm all about the Chooks this season. I'm going the Chooks to win at 6. Chooks grand final, 326. Chooks minor premiership, 550. Sharks to make the 8 at $1.85. I just like a little safety one there. Also, now I know I didn't have this team in the 8, but it would only take a couple of funny results here or there for them to sneak in. I'd take the Dragons to make the 8 at $3.40. I think they could be there or thereabouts when we get to the end of the season. And if a couple of results go the wrong way for other teams, the right way for the Dragons, I think they can sneak into the 8. So Dragons to make the 8 at $3.40, I think is a wee bit of value. Last week, we mentioned that Blake had joined our
I wonder if we're going to bring this up.
our fantasy football, and I'd just like to let you know the team that Blake selected for the fantasy football. I expected a few more Warriors or Tigers players in there. To be fair, he does have 3 Warriors on the bench. He probably has the best outside backs in our league. He's got Teddy Tedesco, Brian To'o, and he's got Reece Walsh on the bench at the moment, obviously out for round 1, but he will probably slot into Bailey Simonson's spot once he's back in round 2. So that looks quite a formidable back 3, Tedesco, To'o, and Walsh. We'll have a look further down the page. He's got Whiten and Sullivan in the halves.
Yeah, I've got something to pick a bone for you, mate. You could have left Burton. He was there. 2 picks to go, and he was mine. You went and got him.
I was trying to figure out how long can I leave Burton there before someone else grabs him.
I would have after the end of it, I would have just shut up shop. I would have said I've won it because I would have had Burton and Whiten sitting there beautiful in the halves with that back line, and you had to go and ruin it.
I told you at the start, mate, this is one of the grubbiest leagues going around.
What's he got? Oh, he's got Jazz Tavanga in the starting side. So there's a Warrior. Is that no? In fact, I don't think you've got any Tigers whatsoever.
No,
you don't. No Tigers
because they're not going to score many points.
I guess that's because you've got them down for the spoon, haven't you?
I did. Yep, I do. Yeah. I went to go pick Ken Mamalo late, but was he got snapped up quick as a couple of my picks did just before I went to pick them. So
Selwyn Cobbo.
So your mate next year. Mate, Selwyn Cobbo, I had him pinned for about 3 rounds. He doesn't even have a picture up.
He
Not
does
even
now.
a picture of him.
He's looking real good in my starting centre spot.
Mate.
Let's have a look. You're up. Yep. Round 1. Your team is up against the Brooklyn Crusade, coached by Matt Bower. So big matchup to start the round off for you boys. Big matchup.
Paul, you haven't mentioned the massive knock on yet by the general manager of the competition.
Oh, yeah.
Had me picking 11th when I should have been picking last, so I would have had a double up pick. So I think maybe a bit of compensation back, maybe a couple of players my way.
Look,
as he said, it's the grubbiest league in the competition, and it's led by the grubbiest commissioner.
I'd like to formally apologise to anyone in the league that's listening, to all the other punters that are still listening. Thanks for listening to our dirty laundry here, the TAB.
Oh, fair. No, you're right. You would rather pick 16 than 11.
Yep.
Smack in the middle.
We did we had a process and
we got the process failed.
I couldn't, NRL locked me out. Couldn't do it. Okay. Look, some of us got the right pick at the right time. Others did not. Yeah, I was at 7 though. Like that's right in the middle.
Far out. Anyway,
but round two, myself and Blake go head to head.
Oh, wow.
Current projections. I am looking at the W.
Oh, crikey, there might have to be a chocolate fish or something put on that matchup. Surely.
I think we could do better than the chocolate fish.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's it for the season preview.
Yeah.
I'll put up all those futures bets in a little spreadsheet, and we'll track them, see how they go during the season. Next week, we'll have our preview of round 1.
Yep.
We'll definitely look at the Warriors game. We'll look at the Thursday night game because it's a huge game, and we'll pick another game to have a look at. Talk about a few other things. Blake might actually tell us a little story, one of his many stories from his league playing games. Don't know. It could happen. It may not.
Yeah, it might make one up. I don't know. We'll just go with it.
And we'll throw out our best bets for round 1 next week as well.
Nice.
Thanks again for joining us. I'll thank Blake all the way from Papamoa. Thank Carl for joining me again in the studio. And we'll be back in 7 days' time for the first round preview of NRL season 2022.